Black Lives Matter. I'm gonna tell you why I have an issue with that. Because if we want to really believe and have others believe that Black Lives Matter, then Black lives have to matter to Black people. Point blank, period. I'm talking to Black people right now. We as a people need to stop harming each other, start helping each other, start building one another up. If Black lives truly matter, because what the protest is, Black Lives Matter, well, all lives matter. And like Jordan Lucas says, your All Lives Matter protest is a protest to my Black Lives Matter protest. But if we really want people to believe that Black lives matter, we have to believe that Black lives matter. Now, let me say this. Just because people are pro-Black, it doesn't mean that they're anti-white. I'm very pro-Black. I'm not anti-white or anti-Jew or anti-whatever. I'm just pro-Black. I love my Black people. I love all people. But I love my Black people, much like Jews love their Jewish families and community. Asians, Italians, Irish, what have you. Polish, what have you. I love my Black people, and I want to see my Black people be just as successful as the next community or the next nationality. It's time out for tearing each other down. It's time out for talking trash about one another. It's time out for not supporting one another. There's nothing wrong if you like Michael Kors or Nike or whoever. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I can spend $60 on a Nike shirt, I can spend $15, $20 at JJ's Rib Shack. You know what I'm saying? Because I support that Black Lives Matter. I support my Black business. I support my Black people. If Black lives truly matter, Black people. So we can't just spout off, oh, Black Lives Matter, just because we see injustices all the time. We have to really, if we really want Black Lives Matter to be a real movement, not that it's not a real movement, but if we want it to be a lasting movement, and if we want it to have believability, we first have to buy into the fact that Black lives do matter, support Black-owned businesses. Now, I'm an advocate for small business anyway. And if I can get my hair cut at a Black barbershop, guess where I'm gonna go? No disrespect to the Latino guy up the street. And I'm pretty sure he does a good job of cutting Black hair, but I'd rather have that Black barbershop experience. See, what we don't understand is, what we fail to realize, there is power in the Black dollar. Think about it here, I'll say the last 3 to 4 years. Think about every corporation and how now the commercials you see have a little more color or a little more interracial couples, little more same-sex couples. Remember, Jake from State Farm used to be a white guy. Jake from State Farm now is a light-skinned Black dude. You know, not saying that they're pandering to the Black community, but people are really starting to understand and realize the power of the Black dollar. Now, what if Black people bought into that? What if we said, you know what? I'm tired of these guys ripping off my people. I'm tired of paying these crazy prices for these products that I use, making them rich. Well, go down to whoever else. Instead of going to Sally's Beauty Supply, I don't know if Sally's Black or not. Instead of going to Sally's Beauty Supply, why don't you go to Laquita's Beauty Supply? If Black lives matter. So Sally will take your hard-earned Black dollar and go invest in other communities, where Laquita will take your hard-earned Black dollar and reinvest in her community, because There's Laquita's Barbershop. There's JJ's Rib Shack. There's Big Tyrone's grocery store. That's how we keep the money in the community. And in turn, that's how we rebuild the community. We have to reinvest, and we have to invest in our own communities, invest in our own people. My son has a dream. I'm guessing he wants to be a musician. I mean, I listened to some of his stuff, and he's really good. I have another son that's really good at photography. I'm going to invest in their futures, or whatever else they come to me with. I'm going to invest. Why? Because first of all, they're my children. Second of all, they're black children. And then two, I need to show them that their life matters by investing in them, by pouring into them. And in turn, maybe they'll come back and reinvest in the communities and help build up their communities. If Black lives really matter, black people, we have to start believing it and acting on it. Not just believing in it, but acting on it as well. And recognize the power of our black dollar. Now on to all lives matter. When we're saying Black Lives Matter, we're not saying Black Lives Matter only. We're saying Black Lives Matter also. Because somewhere along the line, maybe since 1492, people have forgotten that Black lives do matter. Black people do matter. And it really, remember September 11, 2001? Remember that? And you couldn't find, well, you probably could, but you'd be hard pressed to find Americans that just didn't get along, because now we gotta fight against Al Qaeda and the terrorists. Let's band together. And it seems like Black lives only matter when it comes time to defend America, or it comes time to represent America, because man, every 4 years at the Olympics, you find the biggest patriots. You know, and I'm not saying that's not cool, but man, if you're going to support the USA basketball team or track team or boxing team or whoever, all the sports that the USA competes in Olympics that are that have black members, what's the problem with supporting them in the off season? Everybody loves LeBron James. You'll support LeBron James when it's time for the Olympics. But then when he stands up and says, you know what? I love my people and Black Lives Matter. Oh, it's shut up and dribble. But it's not shut up and dribble when it comes to winning gold medals. Why is that? All lives matter. Help me understand that all lives matter. Yes, all lives do matter, including the black ones, including the blue ones, including firefighters and first responders, including every American in this soil, on these lands. All lives matter across the globe. But somehow we forgot that the black lives matter too. So if I was to go off of your all lives matter theory, right? Let's say we're in a cul-de-sac, and there's 5 houses in the cul-de-sac, right? Your house is on fire. The fire department comes and waters every other house, then gets to yours. And your house burns to the ground by the time they get to yours. Wouldn't that upset you? Because, but by your theory, by your logic, all these houses matter. Like, wouldn't you be upset if I told you, well, all these houses matter? Your house was the one that was burning, so your house needed that attention. My house wasn't in danger, so it didn't really need that much attention. That's how we feel when you tell us all lives matter. Our house is burning. There's trouble in our house. But you're getting the water first all the time. And all we want is just a little water to let's just put the fire out. Put the fire out. And then we can tend to everything else. But for right now, this is what's going on. My house is on fire right now. My life is in trouble right now. Hey, please stop harming me. My life matters too. Understand, hear me. My life matters too. That's what we're saying, not only Black Lives Matter. That would make me a hypocrite if I told y'all, you know what, only black, the rest of y'all don't matter, only black people. That's stupid. Why would we fight so hard for equality just to say we're a superior race? That's counterproductive to what we've been trying to do and get accomplished. You know, so when you tell me all lives matter as a protest of Black Lives Matter, I kind of want to punch you in the face. Because that's not what we're saying. We're saying Black Lives Matter too. Also, in conjunction with every other life. Or don't forget that, you know, we're over here too. And when people can finally understand that, I think we can move forward as a country. You know, America has great potential. But we have to tap into it. We can't tap into it if we keep having setbacks like what's going on at the Capitol. And the more and more I see, the more and more I'm not convinced that something else is going on. I don't know. No, you know what? I'm gonna do that right now. I feel like something else. There's something bigger brewing. You know, and I feel bad for the black congressmen and women I feel bad for all the Congress that are trapped in that building. You know, because you have idiots that, first of all, can't accept the fact that their man lost. People got out and voted, their man lost. You lost. Okay, you lost. Bottom line, you lost. Accept it, move forward. Same people that said, oh, Donald Trump's your president, F your feelings now, when people were upset about Hillary losing. You know, well, Biden's your president. Same thing, right? Don't be that guy. You all talking crap about people as, oh man, Trump will never be my president. Oh, he's your president, F your feelings. Well, Joe Biden's your president, F your feelings. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Now the bully has gotten mad. And this is exactly what happened. A bully has gotten mad that he can't bully people anymore. So he rounds up his little posse to go tear stuff up. Or the bully has got mad, and so, or he didn't need the guy at the gym didn't get picked to play ball, so he's gonna take his ball and go home because he didn't get picked. And then telling his friends, man, we're not gonna play in this gym. Or you know, we're gonna tear this gym up because they didn't pick us to play. They didn't pick me to play, so let's just tear the gym up. An act of domestic terrorism is met with what? Open arms. I saw a video where there's a one black officer, standing on the door. And I read the comments and people are like, oh man, I would have got 2 or 3, I would have let him. How come he didn't draw his gun? It's something bigger happening. And I'm thinking too, you didn't fear for your life, homie? Because that's the biggest lie I told. Oh, I feared for my life. He was being complicit, had his hands up, but I feared for my life, so bang, bang, bang. If there was a time to let some off, that would have been the time. You have non-lethal weapons too, don't you? Bean bags, rubber bullets. Those would be the time to let them off. So I'm watching the video, and you have one black officer at an entryway, and there's several. I'm not going to say all of them were white. But from the video, it looked like all of them were white. Protesters. Screw that. Terrorists. Domestic terrorists. Let's just call a spade a spade. Domestic terrorists. Charging the door. Chase the man up the stairs. And then my thing is this. I'm watching this video. Who the hell is filming this thing? Why isn't this guy calling for backup? Why is there no backup there? So to me, something doesn't smell right. Do you plant the black guy there to paint the narrative that, man, they just stormed the thing and he didn't shoot because he feared for his life and somehow he's going to be a hero? Or if he does let off a few, they stop him. And if on the flip side, if he did let off a few, it was so many people there, they probably would have stomped him in the ground. And then somehow made him the bad guy. So he did what he did, took off running. If it was, and then, but I'm thinking, if it was that fearful or that frightening of a moment, first of all, I ain't gonna be there to film it because I'm fearing for my life. I'm gonna tell, hey brother, we need to skedaddle. So part of me feels like, yeah, this thing it might have been staged to distract us from what? I don't know. They're saying they found bombs, and I mean, if this thing wasn't staged, I feel bad for the members of Congress that are stuck, for the government officials that are stuck in that building and held hostage by these terrorists, because that's what it is, an act of terrorism. And it is disheartening, it's heartbreaking, and frustrating to see this unfold when people have been saying for 4 years now, this is what's going to happen if ABCXYZ doesn't happen. If we don't stop these acts of senseless violence, if we don't remove the thought of entitlement, going back to the Elizabeth video from Knoxville, Tennessee, she said she got within a foot. They were storming the Capitol and got within a foot, and she got pushed by an officer and sprayed in the face with mace. How dare they protect the Capitol? And then tried to play victim. Again, somebody please help me understand that. Help me understand. How do you do dirt and then play the victim when you get the consequence of your actions? That's like me going to rob a liquor store and then I get shot by the cashier and I'm pissed off because the cashier shot me. It just doesn't make sense. And I'm not going to play, well, if I was a white guy, if I was a black guy, I'm not going to play that game. But it's kind of hard not to. When you hear protesters say, hands up, don't shoot. And they get shot anyway. When you hear people say, well, just follow the instructions and don't resist, and they die anyway. But you can have, I've seen countless videos of white people fighting cops back and nothing happens. Great restraint is being shown. Not all the time that happens. I have seen some where white people get yoked up too, so I'm not going to paint that picture. But more often than not, great restraint is shown. Dylan Rue shoots up 9 people, gets Burger King. George Floyd fighting for his life, not resisting, gets murdered. Goes to meet the king, king of kings. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all. I don't understand how this happens unless people really just don't care about people of color. And that is my belief. I challenge you to change my mind. Now I know the whole of America doesn't think that way. But I'll go out on a limb and say the majority of America does not care about people of color. I can ask anybody. You know what? I might do this. I bet you if you asked 100 people, 100 white people, would they change places with the person of color, with a black person, if they change places with a black person? 100 random people, 100 random white people, if they would change places with a black person for 1 year, I guarantee 90% say no. Moving forward. So we're protesting, not we, but the protest, the cry was made that the election was stolen. How do you know the election was stolen unless you stole an election yourself? And that's the question I ask. I'm not saying it was stolen, but 4 years ago, but how can you claim election was stolen if you didn't steal the election yourself? There's an old saying that game recognizes game. How do I know what game looks like if I've never ran game myself? I don't know. I'm nobody. I am a blip in this galaxy. I'm nobody when it comes to stuff like this. I'm not the most politically intellectual, politically smart. I'm not. But I do know right from wrong. And what's happening now is dead wrong. Not in the sense of there's no punishment for this domestic terrorism. But it's wrong in the fact that we have domestic terrorism. It's wrong that we have to go through this portion of it. There was a guy with the picture of a guy with the Confederate flag. It's not hate, it's heritage. I get it. I know it's not hate, it's heritage. There's a picture of a guy with a Confederate flag at the Capitol building. Confederate states lost. So why are you carrying a Confederate flag? Is that your mindset? Is that make America great again? Is that what America was great? When we had the Confederate States and then United States. There's pictures of a noose. Now, on a what do they call them, gallows? There's a picture of a noose. What's the mindset behind the noose? Who are we wanting to hang? The mindset of the people haven't changed. And it's going to continue. I said it last year, I'll say it again. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And I thought we saw the worst of it, and boy, was I wrong. So here's the ending of my rant. I don't know. I may have another one, I don't know. There's a lot of tough talk and a lot of people, oh, well, I'm take up arms, come and take it. You're not gonna get my guns. There's gonna be a time where we probably are gonna have to take up arms and fight one another because peace isn't working. And that sucks. But the fight, I believe, isn't going to be black and white. It's going to be what's right and what's wrong. And there's a lot wrong. Domestic terrorism is wrong, dead wrong. Unnecessary violence against a certain group of people is wrong, dead wrong. Hatred is wrong. Now, I'm not saying we all need to sit around campfire holding hands and sing Kumbaya, because that's never going to happen. But if I can respect the fact that you're a man just like me and you just want to feed your family, live in a nice neighborhood, don't have to worry about crime, have clean water, and be able to pay your bills, I think we can get along a little bit better. We may not have to speak to each other. Hey, John. Hey, Rory, how you doing? That may be that. We don't have to be the best of friends, but we do have to coexist. And that's all I'm pushing for. We have a short amount of time on this earth. And it'd be a shame to waste it with petty stuff. I lost a friend here recently, a classmate of mine recently. He was 45 years old. Don't know the cause of death, and I'm not going to share the cause of death with you. But I just know that I just recently lost a classmate. And me and another buddy of mine were talking about it. And I'm 44, he was 45, my buddy's 45. And it put a lot of things in perspective for me. Life is too short and can be snuffed out at any moment. Life is too short to, one, hold on to goofy grudges. Two, to be fighting over something as simple as skin color. Or left side, right side. Liberal versus conservative. That's a stupid argument to have. I don't care who runs this country as long as they can run it. I don't care what their sexual orientation is or how they identify or what color they are. As long as you can run this country and make it so I can feed my family and I don't have to struggle. That's all I care about. Who you sleep with at night or what religious group you belong to, I don't give a damn about that. I want to be safe at night. This little dude never ceases to amaze me. But no, going back. So then now, here's another thing. Now by storming this, the Capitol building, breaching the security of the Capitol building, you just showed the whole world how easy it is to breach security at the Capitol. You just put the whole nation, the whole national security at risk, the whole nation's security at risk. Guaranteed, a lot of those guys have sons and daughters that serve in America's military, USA's military. You just put your son, daughter, your niece, your nephew, cousin, whatever, at risk. You put their safety at risk. Now they got to be on alert. What happens if Korea, somebody decides, hey, you know what, since these domestic terrorists came in and these a lot of Trump 2020, so I'm going to go ahead and say a lot of Trump supporters came and stormed the Capitol building. Why can't we? What's stopping Korea? What's stopping China? Just something to think about. You're so patriotic. You won't stand for fascist government, socialism. You won't stand for it. So you're really willing to put your son, daughter, niece, nephew at risk, their lives at risk. Just because somebody told you an election was stolen and to walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and get on the steps of the Capitol building. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So patriotic. Why don't you, if you're that much of a patriot, and I'm not here talking to the guys saying, oh, we're veterans, we're this or that. You're a hypocrite then. If you're a veteran on the Capitol steps, storming the Capitol, you're a hypocrite. Because you took the oath Defend this country, defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. You're a domestic terrorist. Isn't that treason? And you should be punished. Will they get punished? Who knows? Doubt it. This is the new norm now. But I can't walk into wherever hardly with my hands in my pocket without getting looked at sideways. If I get too loud with police, I'm eating asphalt. This is the America we live in right now. This has been the America. Guess this is America. You know, you know what? And if we're going to be honest about it, just might as well admit it. America's a racist ass country. Bottom line, a bigoted country. Bottom line. And I think now people have the cojones enough to say, hey, look, we never did like y'all. We just was afraid to say it. We don't want y'all here, but since you're here, might as well make yourself useful. Every 4 years at the Olympics, right? Right. You guys have a good evening.